Hi students. Now the exam text for SBL December 2023. Now the first thing students, your attitude should be like you are working for Nctech. That should be your attitude. But you are not a cloud expert. Remember that you are just a finance professional working in the consultancy role. So I'll write down here students, your attitude should be like a finance professional working in the consultancy role. It should not be like a technical expert like a cloud architect or something like that, but you are just a finance professional working in the exam. So students, now one thing you have to understand, how much ever you are intelligent, at the end of the day, examiner is going to mark what you write. So what you write is important, correct no students? So what you type is very, very important. And please make sure students, you type it directly on the answer area. Don't waste your time in the scratch pad or anything like that. So students, now I'll just design a small template that how your mind should be managed in the exam day. Now when you go to the exam day, you will be seeing the screen, everything. So the first step what you have to do is you have to click on the task. Let's assume the task number one. This you can follow it for every task. But when you click on the task number one, the first thing that the student's mind should effectively focus is the format. They may ask a report, they may ask a letter, they may ask a briefing note. So just look at the format. Don't panic. Even if you don't know the format, not an issue. Always motivate yourself. The exams are not over. You have time. So once you look at the format, quickly look at the verb that is there in the format. So I'll write down here verb. It can be evaluate, it can be critical evaluate, recommend, so many things are there. So just to make your life easy, I'll just write down here example. It can be a letter, correct? It can be a report, correct? It can be a briefing note, correct? If I'm not mistaken. So many things can come in the examination, but just keep in mind. Sometimes definitely a PPT will come for sure, 100% sure. And then students verbs. Now, if you observe, definitely there will be a verb, something called evaluate and recommend. Correct now students, evaluate and recommend. Everyone is aware about that. And then students, there may be verbs like assess, there will be verb like analyze, there will be verb like advise, there will be verbs like discuss, so many things can come. So just make sure students, you have to understand what is the verbs, what is my duty in that. Because explain is different from describe is different from discuss. So this is very, very important. I'll just do one quick recap later of this verb. Now students, once you understand the verb, slowly read the question, requirement only. And while reading the requirement, read it very slow and understand and. They will always say, understand, they will always say benefits and drawbacks. So benefits and, when they use the term and, try to make sure you visualize or you can effectively frame your answer. So once you see this, you quickly make sure you design a small answer plan in the main writing itself. You can write down a heading as answer plan and make sure you understand what is going to come. That is very, very, very important. Answer plan, and then you can effectively write it down, students. Like example, what you can say, the advantages, disadvantages, recommendation, all those things. And while then, after you complete that answer plan structure, then slowly go to the section of exhibit. Slowly go to the exhibit section. This will give you a better clarity in simple language on filtering, because you know the question requirement, you know the filtering part. And students, you would have always understood this professional skills. Don't worry about that. As usual, if you see, the two most important skills is commercial acumen. You have to think like in the industry in Falun. If you are in Falun and if you are in the Falun Nctech, and the other one is skepticism. Whatever you are doing, focus on skepticism, because analysis is a verb. Evaluation is already a verb, and communication effectively is what you describe or explain. So the other three things are general writing, but these two are effective skills that you have to keep in mind. Then once you are doing the exhibit, first reading, take out the data from the exhibit. Don't copy paste the data. You identify the points from the exhibit. Now, students, that is very simple. Everyone can do it. And when you're reading anything, don't read at a hurry. Just take 3 words at a time and read slowly. As soon as you read 3 words, pause for some time. Ask yourself, am I reading the correct thing? What does this mean? And then once you complete the reading, little be skeptical. Ask yourself a question. Is there anything that is not there in this exhibit? This will decide whether you are going to score 70 plus or 80 plus, because majority of the candidates will only focus on the exhibit when they are writing. So this should be your point of focus, students. And one things to avoid, I can effectively say, I'll just write down here, avoid. The things is very transparent. That is, in simple language, too much theory. You just memorize theories and write down, it won't work out, students. Memorizing is not successful in the P-level examination. And then, students, after that, the next thing, just to make your life even simple, is pre-seen. Now, pre-seen is outdated on the exam day. Don't again write down pre-seen data again and again and again, waste of time. And the next thing, students, model mapping. Now, students, some students have a very bad practice. They take a model, they map it to that. Unless it is relevant, it is fine. But please don't go with model mapping. You directly take and map it. I believe this is very clear for the students. So this is the structure that the students should effectively keep in mind. And students, don't worry. This is the flow. Start, format, verbs, read the entire task, benefits and drawbacks, break the task, prepare the answer plan, slowly go through the exhibit, develop the points by reading 3 words at a time, think, relevance, and then structure your answer. And the next thing, students, just to make your life even easier and simple, I just want to give you a quick clarity for some students who are still finding the verbs a little bit challenging. There is a video, you can watch it, but in the last time, what I want to say is, if you observe verbs like evaluate, okay, if you observe like verbs like evaluate, analyze, these are the high level standard verbs. Recommend, then you have assess. All these are high level verbs. And what happens is, there are low level verbs like explain, okay, explain, then discuss. Now discuss is coming in the examination, which should have the argument. But students, you observe one similarity. Whenever you are writing, whatever said and done, you have to state what you are writing. You have to state, what are you writing? A cyber risk, what is the cyber risk? What? That is very clear. That's common for both, students. State is common for both. What is common for both? Because when you're starting an answer, you have to start with that. Then why? Why is relevance. Relevance to NCTP. So I'll write down here why and I'll circle it. I'll write down here why and I will circle it. So the relevance is also very much clear. But in this you conclude, what, why, and conclude. Okay, state, apply, and come. Okay, this is it. But here you have not to conclude. State why and then what, why. Instead of how, you have to say consequences. Consequences. Consequences means because of this. Look at the term, students. Because of this. Because of this. What will happen to the future? To the future. To the future. To the future. Understand it very well. What, why, and consequence. Because of this, what will be the impact to the future? Very practically you have to write. So that is the understanding here. Thank you, students. Good luck with your examination. Consistently box breathe. I'm just telling you, box breathe while doing the exam. Take a lot of breathe. Don't waste your energy in question 1. Every 10 minutes, take 1 minute break. A quick break just to make your mind free. You will write the full answer without tiredness. So all the best, students. Thank you very much for everything.